Hey guys, Sak here from SAKITECH, and in today's video what we're going to do is we are going to be sharing over 50 plus tips, tricks, features, and hidden features for the Google Pixel 6 Pro and the 6. This is a fantastic phone, and if you own it, I want to make sure you guys maximize your ownership, or perhaps you want to buy one, and again, this is the video to watch to learn everything about this phone. Let's dive in and get started right away. All right, the very first thing actually is one of my favorite features. So if you go to your settings, all right, and if you go all the way down into system, and if you go into gestures over here, at the bottom we have a fantastic setting. It's called press and hold power button. So what you can do is when you press and hold the power button, you can launch the Google Assistant, which makes everything much more easy. So I can just press and hold. What's the weather like in New York today? And get answers to my question easily by simply pressing and holding the power button. Highly convenient feature to have that I wish other phones had as well. Now, while we are in the gestures, I also want to show you a couple more things. So one thing that I do like over here is the quick tap feature. So on the back of the Pixel, there's a sensor. When you tap that sensor, if you enable this option, you can basically do anything that you want. You can take a screenshot, access your Google Assistant, play or pause media, see the recent app, open notifications, or even open an application. So let's do this as an example, all right? And let's click on the settings, and that's going to allow you to pick the application. Let's do the calculator, something I use all the time to make calculations. So all I do is in the back, I tap it twice, and it's going to launch the calculator, as you can see. All right, so that's a fantastic little feature to have as well. Now I'm using a Google provided case with this tap feature. It works, but it may not work with a very thick protective case. Just so you know, if you have a skin, it's going to work no problem. Some people like no cases. That's also no problem. And if the tapping intensity is too easy, so for example, even if you go like this, and if it launches, you can require stronger taps to make sure you only launch it when you really tap it hard. So that's another level of customization. And then we have a bunch of other things over here. This is one of my favorites right here, flip to shh, okay? So basically, if you enable this, somebody calls you, your alarm goes off, whatever, you grab your phone, you flip it like that, and it's going to decline the call or silent the call or just silence the alarm and stuff like that. So it is a on-demand, do not disturb. Now, as you flip the phone and you put it down and do not disturb gets enabled, you are going to feel a little vibrational feedback, and that's going to be your confirmation that it's working. Okay, just so you know. We also have the one-handed mode. Now, this one is a little bit different than what we've been used to on the Samsung Galaxy phones. With this one, it is more like the iPhone's mode. So first and foremost, to enable this feature, you have to make sure that you have system navigation to gesture navigation. That's what most people prefer. I just like the buttons. But let's just keep the system navigation, and let's go back to one-handed mode. Let me turn this on, and the way it works is you just pull this down and it comes down to your level so you can use it with one hand, no problem. And of course, once you're done, you can simply pat over here and it's going to go right back. Or, as you can see, let's bring this down one more time. You can also swipe from the bottom, okay, just to keep everything one-handed. So that's great as well. Let's go back into the settings. Now, there's a couple other things here that are pretty cool, but you can check these out yourself. Lift to check the phone. The good thing is when you press any one of these guys, it actually gives you a little animation of what it is talking about. So tap to check the phone. So look at that. Single tap, I can check to see the screen. So that's great as well. Now I do want to talk about two really cool features in the camera application. So you launch the camera, and what you do is you go to motion. This is a new option with the Pixel 6 Pro and the regular. And what I like is I like to use the long exposure or the action pan. So when you take a photo with the normal camera mode, here's an example of a photo I took. This is what it looks like. Gorgeous, right? But then if I go to motion, and if I go to long exposure or the action pan, whatever you want to do, you can turn that photo into this photo, which looks amazing. And while you're in these settings, you can tap on the question mark, and that's going to give you, show you a little tutorial of exactly what these modes do, just so you know. Another thing I like, go to video and tap on this hand button and go for the cinematic pan. This is going to allow you to do smooth panning shots. Here's an example of what that might look like. So as you saw, that was stunning, stabilized, smooth footage of the car, and you can do that with anything and stitch those together and make a nice movie. Now the next thing I want to talk about actually is an amazing battery feature. So if I go to my battery over here, if I go down just a little bit, you're going to see the adaptive preferences right here. When I go inside, we have two options. This one is a simple option. It just allows you to extend your battery life. The phone learns how you use your phone and extends the battery life correspondingly. So make sure this is enabled. But this one right here is the one that I really like. It's adaptive charging. When you plug in, when you have this enabled and you plug in your phone to charge it, and let's say you go to sleep and you also have an alarm set up for the next morning, what this option does is it protects your battery by slowly trickle charging your phone up until your alarm. So by the time you wake up, your battery is 100%, but the way it charges overnight is slow charging. And believe it or not, fast charging does affect battery life in the long run. So with this slow charging option overnight, the adaptive charging, it is going to extend the lifespan of your battery, especially if you're going to be keeping your phone for a long time. Now, one of the greatest features on the Google Pixel is the translate feature. It's an application you get to launch, and look at how great it works. Let me just grab a language here. Let's say Turkish, okay? I can actually speak Turkish. So I'm going to speak into this, and it's going to translate that to English in real time. Take a look at this. Hey, naber, nasılsın? Okay, so exactly what it's in English is right there, okay? So you can use this to talk people on the fly. That is quite amazing, and you have all these languages available right here. Look at these languages. French. I think we even have Japanese over here. Let's try the Japanese. You have to download the language you want to use. Once you download the language you want to use, then you can use it for the translation purposes. So let's tap on this guy. Let's try this. Ohayo gozaimasu. Oh my God, works perfect. Translation to English. All right. So you can use this for real as you're traveling. Now, one more thing. Under battery saver, let's say you guys enable the battery saver. That's great. It's going to enable the battery saver. It's going to give you a black background to extend the battery life because you do have an OLED display. Black is going to consume less power. But then this is the option that I'm liking, the extreme battery saver option. So you click this and you choose when to use it. You click on that and you say always use when the battery saver is turned on. So it's turned on right now. I'm going to click it. I'm going to go back. And then what you have is you have essential applications you can choose here that you want to see under your battery saver. And here's what happens. So I'm going to go out. Okay, let's disable and enable. Now the extreme battery saver is also going to get enabled. It took a couple seconds here, but when I go to the home screen, all these applications have been grayed out except the ones that are very basic and the ones I chose under essential applications. So this is going to dramatically increase the battery life if you are low on battery and trying to make do with that minimum battery percentage. So again, if I go back in here, you'll see it's going to say extend your battery life further in critical moments. Extreme battery saver pauses most apps and notifications, and then you get to select the essential apps here to be available for you guys to use. And that's it. Very easy thing to use. And again, you can also have this option to ask every time, so it doesn't turn on every single time, but sometimes you need it and it can ask you and you can confirm it. But normally, if you just use the regular battery saver, it's not a big deal. A lot of things still are available, okay? But the extreme battery saver disables just about everything on the phone. So that's great. And also the battery percentage on the top, if you want a little bit more space, disable it. You're not going to see the battery percentage meter. Enable it. You're going to see it right there. Fantastic. Now, one more battery extension feature actually is in network and internet. So you click on this guy, you go down, you go to adaptive connectivity, you make sure this is turned on. Look over here, it says extends battery life and improves device performance by automatically managing your network connections. So let that happen, and it's going to give you even more battery life if you're losing life faster than you think you should. Now, if you're that person that really wants to reduce the consumption of that battery, there's one more thing you can do. So again, you go back over here and then you go into your sound and vibration, all right? And then what you do is you go down all the way and you can turn off touch sounds, charging sounds and vibration, screen locking sounds, dial pad tones. All this stuff is going to save your battery, including vibration and haptics. Kill this, you're saving battery life already. More than you can imagine. So for now, I'm going to keep them all activated because I don't really care about extended battery life. But if you do, these are some of the things to disable. Now, one more thing. Under sounds and vibration, non-battery related. You go down, you go to adaptive sound. Adaptive sound is going to make sure you get the best sound quality from your phone. So you turn this on and it starts to do something in the background, which it explains right here. It uses the microphone to assess the acoustics near you and then adjust the sound equalizer settings for your environment. So you get the best sound quality. It adapts to your environment. Okay, just so you know, you can test it out. Play some music without it, play some music with it, and you'll see the difference. It does say adaptive sound is going to be less noticeable in higher volumes. So just keep that in mind. I'm going to disable it for now. Obviously, something like this does eat more battery, just so you know, since we were talking about that just a second ago. Over here, it says now playing. So this phone can identify the songs playing nearby. Okay, so if you enable this, if there's any song playing in the background, it is going to tell you exactly what that is in the lock screen. Okay, so in the lock screen, if there was something playing in the background right now, boom, it's going to show it at the bottom right here. Now the problem is, again, when you enable this, it is going to, you guessed it right, eat more battery. So I like to disable this just to save some battery. I don't care what's playing around me, all right? All right, let's continue. Now one option I like, especially in the winter time, or if you put a screen protector on your phone, what you can do is you go to display. At the bottom, there's something known as increase touch sensitivity. So especially if you're wearing gloves that are able to touch your screen, or if you have a screen protector, this is going to basically increase the sensitivity so it's easier to for the phone to detect your touches. All right, you don't need this all the time. In summer, you don't need this, and if you don't have a screen protector, you don't need this. But if you're having any problems, boom, and you're going to be good to go. And I always recommend you come to your display, go into your colors, and pick the tone you like. You got the natural, you got the boosted colors, and you have the adaptive colors. It's all going to be up to you just to get that photo and make that decision. I like natural color. Now, also under display, there is something very important under the lock screen. So you want to go here, and this is all your lock screen management. The biggest thing I like is to change the privacy settings. So what to show on the lock screen. So tap on privacy and make sure you simply show sensitive content only when the phone is unlocked. So if somebody just grabs your phone, by default, it's going to be here. They can see all your notifications, even when your phone is turned off and they look at the lock screen. All right, just something to do. The other thing is customize the lock screen. Tap on this guy, add a little signature. So I can do SAKITECH, boom. All right, now look at this. Right here at the bottom, it says SAKITECH. And the good news is I can go in there and I can actually have a quote. SAKITECH is fantastic. All right. So if I tap on this guy, now if I lock the screen, it's going to say at the bottom, you can put anything you want down here, just one level of customization. Some people like to put their phone numbers there, so if you lose your phone, maybe you can say, call me if you find this phone, blah, 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 some number. Obviously not the number of the phone you just lost. And one more thing at the bottom, it says, always show time and information. increased battery use. So when I have this enabled, if I turn off the phone, all the time it's going to have an always on display showing the time. It's going to eat more battery. Also shows me a couple more things: notifications, date and time, weather, and my alarms, and also the fact that I have do not disturb enabled right now. Okay, so that is the always on display for the Pixel, just so you know. I'm going to disable this because I don't need it. I prefer to just lift to check the phone. You lift the phone, it shows the actual time. Okay, let's move on. Now the Pixel does not come with a micro SD card, so storage is very important. You have to manage that properly. So here's what I like to do. I like to go to my settings. I like to go into my storage, and I like to go into free up space. It says go to Files app to manage and free up space. You tap on it, basically tells you what to do. So this is the Files application, cleaning suggestions, clean 500 megabytes. That's for temporary application files. You click that, clear, and it's going to give you 500 megabytes, 534 actually. So that's done, and it's going to say delete the duplicates, delete large files. You can review and make modifications to clear up more space. It tells you exactly how much you're going to save right here, as you can see. Okay, and of course you can always go to browse to actually browse all your files. So that's another great storage management option. Let's go back into settings. The next thing I want to talk about has to do with data. So if you have a SIM card in your phone and you have a limited data, not unlimited but limited, maybe 2 gigs, 10 gigs, whatever your plan has, I recommend you turn on the data saver option. Okay, when you click this, it's going to save that data, so you don't go overboard, you don't pay extra, and you get to save more of that important data for other tasks. Make sure you click right here and choose the applications you're okay with using unrestricted data access. So for example, just an example here, Google Maps. I would enable this if you're using the Maps application a lot in your car. That's going to make sure the Maps application does not get restricted, but all these other apps are going to be restricted. So great little feature. All right, let's go back. Now one more thing I like with the storage, just so you know, when you do click it, let's say you have, you look over here, you see 6.7 gigabytes and you want to free up some space. You'll always click this, it'll give you an expansion, and then click it one more time. Let's just tap over here. I don't like this game, I don't want to play it. So what I can do is I can click on the icon, and I can just uninstall it, and that's also going to save me some space. Okay, so just be aware of all these little tricks that you have with your system. You can do it with trash, system, apps, videos, whatever you want. It's all up to you. Let's also talk about the wallpaper and styling of your phone. It's a big thing with Pixel to customize your phone. So either you can press and hold anywhere on the screen, go to wallpaper and style, or what you can do is go to your settings, okay, and access it from here, wallpaper and style. You click this guy, and what you're going to have is you're going to have these wallpaper colors. It's going to extract the colors from the wallpaper, and it's going to give you a palette. You can click, and it's going to apply all kinds of various colors to the lock screen, to the home screen, to the phone dialer. Even when I pull this down, the color is going to change. So let's go with basic colors. Let's go with blue here. Okay, look at how it changed up. So when I pull this down, again, that's blue. So I'm loving that stuff. It's wallpaper and style. And also, you can theme the icon. So if I click this, and if I go out, all my icons are also going to inherit that same color that I pick from here or here. It's going to be all up to you. Truly a fantastic customization feature. Change wallpaper. You have access to all these wallpapers. I'm sure you guys know about all these guys. But they got some beautiful landscape wallpapers in here. Okay, anyway, let's move on. Now, one more thing I like to do personally is I like to go to my settings. Okay, and I like to go to my security right here. And then I like to go into my fingerprint unlock. By the way, all these guys have a check mark. That means they're good. If you see this symbol, that means there's a problem. You want to click it and review what's happening. Just so you know. So we have a check mark here. That's good. But here's what I like to do. Okay, just put in my PIN number. So I have 3 fingers registered here. So I like to click on it, and I like to make sure that I rename the fingers. Okay, so this is my left index. So I like to make sure that's known to be LI. So as you add your fingerprints, come in here and modify these names accordingly. If you don't remember, just delete, re-register your finger, and come and rename it real quickly so you have a track of what's happening here. So later, it's easier to just delete them because there's no way to tell which one is which unless you rename it. Alrighty. From this security window, you can also check the security update for your phone. It's going to tell you you're up to date, and also check the Google Play system update. All these things are going to make you more secure. You can always come and check. Most of the time, they're going to be good to go. Sometimes you might get an update, but that just means you're safe. Now, one more thing I like when it comes to privacy. When you go to location under settings, you can go into any application and you can basically enable or disable the precise location information. This makes sure, so if I go like this, now when Google wants to use my location, they're not going to know exactly where I am. They're just going to have an approximate location. They're going to feed me data based off of that, so you can disable this for many applications like Facebook, Twitter, whatever. Now with the Google, I prefer to have it enabled because I do use maps and other services that are locally available. But you have this option, you can change it for every single application and you can see them all. All these applications need access to my location and I can go in and I can change it precise to unprecise. All up to you. Great little management feature. One more thing. If you go down, actually no, if you go up a little bit, under security there's privacy. You tap on privacy and this is one of my favorite features. You can kill the camera access and the microphone access of any app to your phone, okay? Normally, let me just give you an example. If I launch the camera application, you're going to see a green dot on the top. When you pull this down, you're going to see the green right there. You click it and it says camera is being used by the camera application. So you know something is using your camera application. Now the funny part is when you disable these, nobody can use the camera or microphone, no application. So when I launch the camera application, it is not going to allow me to do it because it is blocked. I can unblock it, but it's all up to you. So right now, I cannot use the camera because it is blocked. All right. So that's the kill switch for camera and the microphone access, which I think is great. You also have a privacy dashboard that gives you a lot of information. What applications have used your location, your camera, your microphone in the last 24 hours, in the last 7 days, all up to you. Okay, so look at this. For example, my location has been used by all these applications at this particular time. So if anything looks out of whack, you can come here and you can look at it. Sometimes people install spy applications on your phone. They're going to show up right here and you're able to be more aware if that's the case. Now with the camera access and the microphone access, you can see them on the top here. Okay, so let me just go over here. It's going to be somewhere here. If you don't see them, they're here. Camera access, mic access, enable on the go. If you don't see them here, tap on edit and you can grab the ones that you want to see just like this. Okay, look at that. So all these are active tiles on the top right here. But you can actually enable, disable right from here. And one more thing I'm going to show you guys while we are here is the bedtime mode. When you press and hold, it's going to take you to the bedtime mode. This is going to allow you to sleep better. It opens up the grayscale mode so your screen turns to black and white before you're about to go to sleep. And also the do not disturb gets enabled. So it's going to allow you to better sleep because black and white screen has less strain on the eyes. And a lot of us stare at our phones as we're about to go to sleep, and that puts a strain in the eye and makes you sleep worse than you normally would have. But with a black and white screen, a little bit of that strain disappears, okay? And you can set the time. It's all up to you, all right? So let's say not now for now. You can also customize everything here, just so you know. And that's the bedtime mode. By the way, always back up your phone. So you want to go to your settings. In case anything happens, you want to go all the way down, right over here, system, go to backup, and basically you can back up your phone with Google One. So here's my account. I do have 15 gigabytes of space. You can purchase more and turn on. So photos and videos, apps and app data, contacts, text messages, call history, device settings, more details, all this stuff is going to be back to your Google One account under the account that shows up right here. You can change it if you want to any other account. But when you do this, if you lose your phone, if it gets destroyed, you buy a new one, you can restore everything, no problem. Fantastic. Now under display, there's one more thing I'm going to show you guys real quick. At the bottom, obviously the phone can actually run at 60 Hertz or 120 Hertz. 60 Hertz, it's going to be a little bit choppy, but it's going to save you a lot of battery. 120 Hertz is going to give you that smooth scrolling effect. It's going to waste a little bit more battery, just so you know. Alright, so that brings us to the end of the tips, tricks for the Google Pixel 6 Pro and the Pixel 6. Any questions, comments, or concerns? Drop them down below. Let me know. I hope you guys learned a lot of new stuff.